Discovering Asian dramas back in 2018 was an enlightening moment for me, and I've never looked back. I enjoy talking about them just as much as watching them. So much so that I decided to create a podcast with a heavier focus on Chinese dramas, but passing through Korean, Japanese, Thai, and Filipino dramas. Welcome to the Tea and Soju Asian Drama Podcast, your corner for drama talking. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Tea and Soju Asian Drama Podcast. I'm your host Liliana, and in today's episode we are wrapping up 2022. So last year, literally, because I'm recording this in January, last year I did the best of the best Chinese dramas for 2022, and I also did my best of the best OST episode. Now, I was meant to do this episode at the end of that year, but you know, life got in the way and this one got pushed aside a little bit, but I did promise it, and here it is. So I'm really excited today because I was looking back at the episodes that I did last year, and apart from one episode that I did more on like Japanese dramas, I mainly focused on Chinese dramas, which was like technically the whole point of my podcast anyways. But it's also exciting because Chinese dramas aren't the only thing I watch. I watch Korean dramas, I watch Japanese dramas, I watch Thai dramas, a whole bunch of Asian dramas. And I feel like it's really exciting that I get to talk about that in like my end of year wrap. But also going forwards into like 2023, I definitely want to sneak in some, episodes that are from other countries other than China, even if that will still be my main focus for the podcast. But like I said, I started like the series with the OST episode and then best of the best for Chinese. And this one, I'm going to pass through South Korea, Thailand, and Philippines. Also, I did cheat a little bit because there is one Japanese drama that I really, really, really want to mention. It's technically not from 2022, but that's when I watched it, so that's where I'm going with it. I'm still going to mention it at the end. This episode will be completely spoiler-free. I'm just going to basically give you guys the MDL descriptions for the shows and then just why they make it into my favourite, I don't know what to call this one because I feel like, should I just call it Best of the Best Asian Dramas 2022 or end of year wrap? Or do you know what? I am terrible at coming up with titles. Because I can literally turn the mic on and just talk for hours, even if I'm just talking to myself. But when it comes to coming up with a title, that's where I struggle. So I don't know, when you guys listen to this, obviously there will be a title there, but I still haven't come up with one. I think I'm probably just going to go with like end of year drama wrap or something like that. But anyways, that's what this one will be. I'm just going to be listing out them, telling you the MDL descriptions and the reasons why I enjoyed them. That's basically that. So, without any further ado, that's basically it. That's my introduction. It's going to be really short because I'm getting better at doing that, at doing shorter introductions. And let's get into the episode. So, since South Korea is the one that I've got the biggest list from, apart from China, I thought it would be good to start there. I think what to say. So basically, I feel like when I first started watching Asian dramas in general, back in 2018, like I started with Chinese dramas, but then that led me, I literally only watched maybe 2 or 3 Chinese dramas before I found Korean dramas. And for a really long time, that's where I stayed. I stayed in like the K-drama realm, so to speak, because I find that I clicked better with those. I was enjoying those a lot more. And in the last sort of 2 years, I would say, but specifically in 2022, I have seen like my biggest shift from Korean dramas to Chinese dramas. I feel like, especially in 2022, there was like a little disconnect between me and Korean dramas. They seem to not like be hitting the spot for me like they used to before. And even with that being said, I did enjoy fewer K-dramas, but the ones that I did enjoy, I really, really enjoyed. So I suppose that's always something. I feel like there was a lot of, especially like in the later half, there was a lot of law-focused Korean dramas, and that's just not, something I really vibe with, or that is called to me for a genre of dramas in general. So I feel like maybe that's probably why I didn't connect with them. They, just the ones that, I wanted, or the ones that were coming out weren't necessarily genres that I tend to enjoy. So that's, why. But like I said, I still enjoyed a lot of the ones that I watched. So I'm gonna name my 5 Korean dramas for 2022 that I really, really enjoyed, like my top Korean dramas. And then I do also have some honorable mentions at the end. And I just have to. There is 2 dramas that are technically 2021 dramas, but I feel like, to me, they're not. And I'll explain. So basically, the 2 that are on my list finished in January 2022. So to me, I don't necessarily count the beginning date of the drama if that drama, say, is in 2021, more specifically because I like to judge the drama as a whole. So if I'm going to rate it, unless I've dropped it, if I'm going to finish it and rate it as a whole drama, then I need to watch the whole drama. If it's the case that it finishes in January 2022, then I will probably tend to class it as a 2022 drama, just because I won't be able to rate the show or even, fully comment on it until I watch those last episodes that are on, in January 2022. And just like as say in general, like those last episodes can mean the difference between me loving a drama and me just being like full of rage for the drama. It really can be that, like, that little switch simply. So yeah, I have 2 that I have to sneak in at the end just because I love them so much and I feel like I need them to be, in my list for 2022. So with all of that said, let's jump into my top favorite Korean dramas of 2022. And these are absolutely in no order at all. I don't even think I could put them in a ranking of 1 to 5 just because I really enjoyed them all overall. So yeah, they are literally just in list form of how I was pulling them off MDL, off my list. So yeah, let's actually stop waffling and get into it. Anyways, my first pick on top Korean dramas for me for 2022 has to be A Business Proposal, and that is starring Kim Se-jong as Shin Ha-ri and An Yo-sop as Kang Tae-mo, as well as Kim Min-gyu as Cha Song-hoon and Sol In-ah as Jin Young-soo. And I love this drama, but if you are one of those people who haven't watched it yet, here's what the MDL description is. Shinhari is a single woman and works for a company. She has a male friend who she has had a crush on for a long time, but she learns he has a girlfriend. Shinhari feels sad and decides to meet her friend Jin Young-soo, who is a daughter of a chaebol family. Jin Young-soo then asks Shinhari to take her place in a blind date and even offers some money for her time. Shinhari accepts her friend's offer. She goes out on a blind date as Jin Young-soo while having the intention to get rejected by her date. When she sees her blind date, Shinhari is dumbfounded. Her blind date is Kang Tae-mo. He is the CEO of the company where she works. Kang Tae-mo is the CEO of a company that his grandfather founded. One day, his grandfather informed him of an upcoming blind date that he set up for him. Kang Tae-mo is a workaholic, and he is annoyed that his grandfather sets up blind dates for him. He decides to marry the next woman who he meets at a blind date, so he won't be disturbed from his work anymore. That woman is Shinhari, but pretending to be Jin Young-soo. On the following day, Shinhari receives a phone call from Kang Tae-mo. He asks her to marry him. So that is the plot. And can we just say trope central? And I absolutely loved this drama. It was so tropey. It was rom-com to a T. I absolutely loved it. But also, I really, really enjoyed that it was rom-com, but it was like, you know, all of those tropes from years and years ago brought into the 2022 year and revamped, and it worked because everybody was having so much. You could see the actors were having fun with their characters, and you could see that like the show itself wasn't taking the tropes seriously. Like the comedy in this was just a peak. There was not one single episode where I wasn't laughing completely, and I love that. Sometimes you need that from a drama. Like you need the silly and you need that complete distraction. So this drama catered to that so well that it just fit for me perfectly for the time, and I think it worked for a lot of people. It was, I think, well received for a lot of people within the, you know, Korean drama watchers community of sorts, and I think for me the peak for this drama has to be our female lead, Kim Se-jong, as Shinhari. She is just so funny. Her expressions, her body language, her comedic timing is like on point, and I absolutely loved her. She was complete the star of this show for me anyways, but also I quite liked the second lead couple within this drama as well, which is quite good because sometimes in these rom-coms you have like the typical second male lead and the typical second female lead that tend to be like mean, or they tend to do what they need to do to get like the female lead's attention or the male lead's attention, and I really liked that the second couple in this. Now, I say every week that you guys probably can't hear my dog, but I'm sure this time you heard him, so I'm leaving that in so you guys know I'm not joking when I say if you can hear my dog in the background. So he decided to get involved in the conversation, and now I've completely lost the thread because I sort of stopped recording so I could go and see what he was barking at. You know when dogs just suddenly decide to bark at something, and yeah, he was barking at something. I don't know what it was, but who knows. Anyways, I was talking about the second couple. And I was saying how basically usually like the second couple tend to like be mean or try to do everything they can to get with the, you know, main male lead or main female lead. But in this case, like, the second couple have their completely separate story. And I really like that because it means that then there's no like interference and you can kind of enjoy both couples separately. So yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I actually ended up giving this one a 9 out of 10 on MDL. And like I said, it really just fit my mood for that time. It was fun and, you know, it was kind of like a throwback drama, but done in a really good way. It had all the tropes, you know, arranged relationships. It had, you know, your cold CEO. It had all of that thrown into one drama. And actually, I think this one was only 12 episodes, which worked really well for the plot line, I think. So yeah, this one was just a delight to watch. And if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. If nothing else, if the plot doesn't do it for you, you will at least get a couple of few good laughs out of it. So it was definitely just one of those that I thoroughly enjoyed watching. Now, this one, the second one that I have on my list, it's one that perhaps many people didn't get a chance to watch it, and that is the drama Kiss the Sixth Sense, or Kiss Sixth Sense. I think that's what it is. I don't think it has the in it. And the reason why I say perhaps many people didn't get to watch it, it's because it's one of those Disney Plus dramas that it wasn't airing anywhere for anyone except in Asia. So a lot of people didn't get to watch it. I believe it now has come to Disney Plus, so I believe pretty much anyone who has access to that platform can have access to it. I watched it elsewhere, shall we say, while it was airing. And I really, really enjoyed it. For some reason, and actually just finishing Alchemy of Souls season 2 last night, I will say that I really, really struggle with Korean fantasy. I love fantasy in general. You know, Chinese fantasy genres are one of my favorite genres ever. But when it comes to Korean fantasy, there is something that just does not click for me. And it tends to be with the story itself. Like, the story tends to waffle a lot, if that makes sense. It feels a lot of the time waterlogged, like it's infilled with a lot of stuff. And I suspend my belief for a lot of fantasy dramas, and I tend to basically just kind of like let them get away with a lot. But when it came to this one, I really enjoyed it, actually. And I feel like because it was a shorter drama, I should have written it down, but I can't remember how long it was. Maybe 12 episodes? I can't quite remember. Was it 8 or 12 episodes? It was either 8 or 12 episodes. It was one of those shorter, format dramas. I feel like because of that, it worked quite well. So, Kiss Sixth Sense, it stars Yoon K-sang as Cha Min-ho and Se Ji-hye as Hong Ye-sul. And the MDL description is as follows. Hong Ye-sul, the best account executive on Planning Team 1, at Zoo Ad, is making her way up as a project manager. She has one secret: she can see the future when she kisses someone. One day, after Yeosul's lips accidentally meet the lips of her evil team chief, Min-ho, she sees herself in bed with him in the future. While Yeosul is confused with her future, her ex-boyfriend Pil Yor shows up to work on a new project together and offers Yeosul to go on a date with him 3 times. The romantic office comedy revolves around Yeosul, whose primary focus is work. So I actually think, yes, her primary focus is work, but the shenanigans come from the fact that she has seen herself sleep with her boss, and at this point, she despises him. She really does not like him. Nobody really likes him, and there is a whole story behind him, and I feel like the threads were pulled really well. The fantasy aspect of it was done really well, but you could also almost take away the fantasy elements of it, and at its core, it's like an office romance type of drama. So yeah, this one worked for me, and I think, like I said, it worked for me because it is a shorter drama, and that meant that the story didn't kind of like a drag too much, and it was really fun to kind of see her as like. Whenever I watch a drama, I really, really like when, as an audience, you get to see like either, the middle of the story or the ending of the story first, and then they kind of go in and tell you how they're going to get from, beginning to the end that you've already seen. So that, because it's going to get there, it kind of almost takes the question of what's it going to end, or how is it going to end, how's it going to end, and it kind of shifts from that to the journey itself of getting there. And I really, really love when dramas do that, because you focus so much on that journey because you already know the ending. Well, this fact, like, them sleeping together, it kind of happens maybe a third of the way through, so you don't know the ending, but you know the big event, if that makes sense. So yeah, I really love when stories do that, and this was no exception. I did score it a little bit, lower. It's still pretty good. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, now I watched this a while ago, and this is why this year I'm actually doing a paper like drama diary. If anybody wants to see that, like, I'll post the pictures of it on my Instagram. I'm really proud of it. But anyways, the point of doing that is that so I can write kind of like mini reviews throughout the year as I'm watching things. And then when I come to do the end of the year wrap up next year, well, at the end of this year, because we're already in 2023. Can we believe that? 2023, where the heck did time go? Like, I don't understand. But anyways, when I come to the end of this year, the wrap up should be a lot easier because I'm going to have, a lot of thoughts written down. So yeah, I'm hoping that that's really going to help. But if I'm remembering correctly, I think the ending for this drama was kind of like rushed a little bit. They kind of like dragged out the middle, the first sort of half of the drama, and then they kind of like rushed through a lot of it. And I think it could have the pacing was just slightly off in some points, which, it can be for a load of reasons, but even so, it did kind of affect my scoring there a little bit. But regardless, I still really enjoyed it, and I think it needs a little bit of a shout out. So it did make it into like my top, 5 of the year, just because I really, really enjoyed it in that sense. And I was going through like the top rated dramas that I've got, and I've got a couple that are like 8.5s and a couple of, 9s and whatnot. And how I decided is I wanted to do like a variety of shows for my top, and that's why this one kind of slips in over some others that, are going to be on my honorable mentions. So it doesn't necessarily make it any better or any worse than the ones that are on my honorable mentions, but that's why it's, placed here. But just because I wanted kind of like diverse and different shows from my top 5. With that being said, moving on to the next drama on my list, and that would be the drama Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Now, I feel like this drama is probably going to be on many people's top dramas for the year in general. It was such a good drama, and for me, now I think a lot of people probably love this drama because of the female lead and the male lead, but for me it was the female lead. Park Eun Bin as Woo Young Woo was the star of this show. Like, she owned this show completely, and I feel like I was there for her. But anyways, before we get into that, so the Extraordinary Attorney Woo, like I mentioned, it stars Park Eun Bin as Woo Young Woo and Kang Tae-ho as Lee Jun-oh. And the MDL description is as follows: diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, 27-year-old Woo Young-woo graduated at the top of her class from the prestigious Seoul National University for both college and law school due to her high IQ of 164. Impressive memory and creative thought process. Working as a lawyer, she finds herself struggling when it comes to social interactions. Now, that is literally like the surface of the drama. There's so much within this drama, and I feel like, you know, it is a story of watching, you know, Young Woo basically like creating her own path and creating her life, and like seeing how she shows people, you know, how, yes, she does have autism, and sometimes that means she can't do things exactly like how, you know, people who don't have autism do them, but it just also doesn't mean that she can't do them at all. So there's been lots of people talking about this drama, and I feel like there's a couple of podcasts that did such a good job at like describing Extraordinary Attorney Woo and what made it special that I'm not going to go into too much detail on it, apart from I just absolutely loved this drama. There was a couple, like, it didn't get a 10 out of 10 from me. There was a couple of things that I didn't necessarily like in the drama. Do I recall what they are? Probably not, which probably means that at the time that I rated it, it bothered me, but after, you know, sitting on it for a while, it doesn't bother me quite as much. And I think that I basically had a couple of problems with the male lead. I know, he was perfect and everybody loved him, but there was just a couple of things that I didn't like how the narrative of the story itself was heading, like the direction it was heading in. So I actually ended up giving it a 9 out of 10. But even so, that's like a pretty high score from me. Not many have gotten a 10 out of 10 from me, and I think that this one, you know, it was still a really, really special drama. But like I said, for me, I just absolutely loved Park Hoon-bin in this. And also I feel like she has done quite a few dramas and her roles are quite varied. And this girl has range, and I just can't wait to see what role she takes on next. So yeah, that was Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Coming in next is a drama oh my god, this drama, it took my heart, it ripped it out, and it crunched it, and then it mended it back together, all within every single episode, and that would be the drama Tomorrow, and that's starring Kim Hae-sun as Gu Ryeon, Rowoon as Choi Jun-woong, Lee So-hyuk as Park Jong-gil, and Yoo Ji-on as Im Ryong-gu. And the MDL description goes as follows. Choi Jun-woong seeks a job, but it's hard for him to get hired. One night, he witnesses a man trying to end his life and decides to stop him. He gets acquainted with Grim Reapers, Ko Ryeon and Im Ryong-gu, who belong to a crisis management team. Their purpose is to prevent people from committing suicide. After Jun-woong ends up in a coma and becomes half human and half spirit, he is employed by a company of Grim Reapers as the newest member of crisis management team. Now, you know, as soon as you read that description, that this drama is going to be heavy. It deals with suicides every single episode. You know it's going to be heavy. It's Grim Reapers. It's death. It's, you know, that's just what the drama is about. But when I tell you, this is probably my favorite fantasy Korean drama ever, it is, because it's so like sentimental and it's so well written. Like every single episode I was crying for the characters. You know, every single episode was a new case for them, and they just did it so well, so well, that I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I also feel like, you know, every time because obviously it's going to be about suicides, and every time a new story came up, you're going to think, oh gosh, how are they going to handle this? Are they going to handle it well? And every single time, like, the drama surprised me and the writers surprised me, and they handled it with respect and with kindness, and I love that. Even when there was stories that, you know, they were so hard to watch. I remember there's one specific story, and I believe it's about a Korean soldier, and that story, it broke me. Even just thinking about it now, just looking back at it now, it brings tears to my eyes, because it was that well done. It was that well acted that I just felt every single emotion come through the screen. And this drama was probably one of, you know, like I said, it's in my top 5, but I absolutely loved it. It was one of those that where it's fantasy, but it's so well done that I absolutely loved it. So yeah, I ended up scoring this one a 9.5 out of 10, and I don't know why it wasn't quite a 10 out of 10 for me. I don't know. I can't pinpoint. Like I said, the difference between like a 9.5 and a 10 for me is so small, and like that 0.5 can be something ridiculous that I can't even pinpoint myself. So yeah, that's why I ended up giving this one a 9.5, which is still like a really high score. And again, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, because I feel like every story is kind of like, yes, it pulls at your heartstrings, and yes, it kind of makes you cry, but it's like that cathartic crying, like that, you know, breath of fresh air. When you finish crying, you feel so good, because it's like it cleanses your soul. That's what this drama was about. It's kind of like cleansing, because every single episode was a different story, and you had like where they began, where they were going, and, you know, the end within an episode. So I really liked that format as well. So yeah, that's the drama tomorrow. Also, can I just say, I love Lee Soo-hyuk, and I feel like I need more dramas with him. Is anybody with me? Like, am I the only one here? Because his voice, my God, the man could just be talking gibberish, and I could just be like, you know, stood still listening to him. I was like, I don't understand what you're saying, but I don't care. His voice is just like so velvety smooth that, yeah, I feel like I need him to do a main role. I was doing like the December challenge, December drama challenge. And I think one of the questions right towards the end is, what would you like to see more of in 2023 in dramas? And I was like, I need Lee Soo-hyuk to do a drama, like and I need him to do a full blown, here is center and stage of it. Like, but maybe not. I've heard, I don't know if this is true, I think somebody was mentioning that it's him that doesn't really want to take those roles on. And if that's the case, then, well, okay, I get it. But if that's not the case, somebody needs to cast him as like a proper male lead, and that's that. That's my little 2 cents for this one. Let's move on, because I could be here for a while just talking about him and his voice. And yeah, let's move on, shall we? So, the next one. Now, I really debated about putting this one on my list, and I ended up thinking, and then I was like, I can't make a best of the 2022 list and not put this one in, and that is the drama 2521, starring Kim Tae-ri as Nahi-do, Nam Joo-hyuk as Baek In-jin, Bona as Ko Ye-rim, Choi Hyun-wook as Moon Ji-woong, and Lee Jae-myung as Ji Sung-wan. And basically, this drama, I mean, everybody knows this. I mean, not everybody, but I'm pretty sure this drama is in the top for a lot of people, and it conquered a lot of hearts. It conquered a lot of people, and rightfully so. Now, let me just get into the MDL description of this, and then I will just go through like my little, likes for this drama. And basically, The MDL descriptions goes as follows. In a time when dreams seem out of reach, a teen fencer pursues big ambitions and meets a hard-working young man who seeks to rebuild his life. Nahi-do is a member of her high school fencing team. Due to the South Korean financial crisis, the high school fencing team gets disbanded. Getting through all the difficulties, she becomes a member of the national fencing team. The South Korean financial crisis also causes Becky Jin's father business to go bankrupt. This leads to a life change for Becky Jin, from living the life of a wealthy person to a poor person. While studying, he works part-time jobs like delivering newspapers. Later, he becomes a sports reporter for a broadcasting network. Now, this MDL description is all about the main couple. And that's what this story was about for many people. And I could see that. But for me, this main couple, there was a couple of things that didn't work for me. And I was very much in the corner of, it's the fact that they were at such different places in their lives when this romance developed. She was in high school, clearly a high school kid. He was not. Their age difference was grating a little bit for me, I suppose. But regardless, I still, didn't let that affect it too much, because for me, this is and will always be Nahi-do's story. Becky Jin is a part of her story, but this is Nahi-do's story. And for me, Kim Tae-ri, oh my god, I absolutely loved Kim Tae-ri in this. It was my first time ever watching her, and I was like, oh my god, this is Nahi-do, her spirit, her actions, just everything. It's it was Nahi-do completely. And just for that alone, this drama deserves to be in a lot, in best of the best for a lot of lists and whatnot. And it is because Kim Tae-ri made this drama what it is, I think. For me, anyways. I know a lot of people loved the romance, and that's what they loved about this drama. But for me, it was the fact that Nahi-do is Nahi-do. Her personality, her journey, her strength, just everything. I absolutely loved her character. But also, I loved the circle of friendship around her. Koirim, to me, that is the friendship that I loved so much watching throughout the whole drama. It was Nahi-do and Koirim, their story, where they start and where they end as friends. I loved it. Absolutely, absolutely loved it. So to me, that actually shone brighter than the romance itself. It's the friendships. It's the fact that we have a female friend and a male friend who stay friends throughout the whole drama, and there is no romantic relationship there at all. They are simply friends. I loved that. So yeah, I had my qualms with it, more with the romance than anything else, because everything around this drama was done so well. But like I said, the star of this show is Kim Tae-ri as Nahi-do, and there is nothing else that shines brighter than her in this drama. I absolutely loved it. Even her eyes would sparkle with that excitement of, young and just, I don't know, I just loved her character so much. So if you haven't watched it, definitely go check it out. It is definitely worth your time. And I ended up scoring this one a 9 out of 10. There was a couple of things that I would have changed up in the ending, and just a couple of things with the romance. But again, overall, I still absolutely loved this one. So yeah, it gets a 9 out of 10 from me. And that's it. That actually completes my list overall. But I should have just made it my top 5, 6, 7, maybe 7, maybe 8 dramas in general. But there is, and I probably will just say that these are all dramas that I really, really loved as well. but they just quite didn't make it in. Although I feel like the next one I'm about to say should be on my list. So this one will be like the 6th on my list. Did I do 6? I think I did 6 for Chinese dramas. So I feel like I should do 6 for Korean dramas. You see, this is what happens when you think like you've got your plan written out and then you're like, no, but I want to put that one in as well. So I'm putting this one in. Anyways, this one's not going to be an honorable mention. This one is going on my list. So next on my list has to be the Korean drama, period set drama Under the Queen's Umbrella. Now, this drama, guys, I am not a huge politics kind of person when it comes to like period dramas in general. I either vibe with them or I don't. They are one of those type of dramas that I tend to give it a couple of episodes. If I'm enjoying it, great. If I'm not, then I tend to leave it. But with this one, I enjoyed it from episode 1. Absolutely loved it from episode 1. And I don't know why I didn't just straight away put it on my list, but here we are. I'm putting it now. And I think that's very much to do with the Queen herself. And that is played by the actress Kim Hae-soo. And I just feel like she is the life of this drama. Can you see a recurring theme in my top choices? There is one standout character that I like gravitate towards, and it tends to be the female. If the female is well written, I tend to like the drama more. And it seems to be a recurring theme for my 2022 favorite K-dramas for sure. And this one is no exception. And the MDL description is as follows. Within the palace exist troublemaking princes who cause nothing but headaches for the royal family and are about to be turned into proper crown princes. Their mother, Im Hwa-ryong, is a wife of the great king, but instead of having an aura of elegance and grace, she is a prickly, sensitive and hot-tempered queen. Once more serene, she changed since people kept pushing her buttons. She is a queen who sometimes abandons her pride and is even known to swear. Every day of her life is full of trials, but she withstands them all for the sake of her children. Now, this drama is about the queen. I feel like it's her journey. Yes, everything floats about, around her, but it is the queen's journey for sure. And I absolutely loved the acting and the queen herself. I don't even know where to start with this one, but I feel like if you take away her character, this drama has nothing going for it. And, for me anyways, I feel like her character is kind of like the glue that binds the whole show together. And this actress, Kim Hae-soo, she played this role so well that I loved it. Like, she's not the type of queen that I've seen in any drama before, and I kind of loved it. It reminds me a little bit maybe of Mr. Queen, the way that the queen became. She was very different and very modern, but there was a reason for that. This case, no, that's just how she is. Even within her restraints of her being, in the period she is in, she still tries her best and she makes it work. And I also loved the fact that her and the king work together. It's not like evil versus, it's like they actually work together, and I was just fascinated watching this one. So yeah, it definitely makes it into my top. I'm gonna change it. It's my top 6 now, because I had it under my honorable mentions and I just can't leave it there. So I'm making it a top 6 instead of a top 5. So that is Under the Queen's Umbrella. I think I scored it a 9 out of 10. I believe I did a 9 out of 10. So yeah, that is pretty high considering it's a historical set drama. I don't tend to rate those very highly because, like I said, they either are hit or miss. And even all the politics, they just kind of worked in this one, because it is surrounding the queen and, how she navigates, the crown prince and who's going to become crown prince and all of that. So yeah, I really, really loved it. And that's it. That is my list now. That's it. I'm not touching it anymore. Last minute changes of fun. You guys, this is a very chaotic episode. I'm sorry. I feel like this is a very chaotic episode. And also, I feel like because it's the first episode that I'm talking about Korean dramas, I feel like I'm out of it, if that makes sense. It's the first one where I'm like actually more heavy focused on anything but Chinese dramas. Like this one isn't about the Chinese dramas, so I feel like I'm completely out of whack, if that makes sense. So it's very chaotic. I hope you still like it, but here we are. I do have just 2 honorable mentions on my list now. It was 3, but now we're down to 2. Anyways, that is the 2 dramas, Shooting Stars and My Liberation Notes. I really loved them. Well, I really enjoyed them. Shooting Stars was just fun a lot of the time, and the main couple was just adorable, so I really enjoyed that one. My Liberation Notes was kind of like... Oh, sorry, I have a hiccup now. It was kind of like, I don't know, very quiet on the surface, but the relationships were really, really important and quite well written, so I enjoyed that one as well. It doesn't quite break into my top 6, but they both definitely deserve a honorable mention. Now, the last 2 for Korean dramas is dramas that are technically 2021 dramas, but I still have to just give them a shout out because I loved them. And they both finished in January, even though they're classified as 2021 dramas. So that's why I'm slipping them in here. And that would be the period time set, The Red Sleeve, starring... Lee Junho and Lee Se-young. I just loved this one, guys. Like, I absolutely loved it. And I loved it throughout. Again, I very rarely connect with historical dramas. So when I do, it's like, it makes them stand out even more because it's not a genre that I tend to go for. So I have to give this one a shout out. I loved it. It was the first drama I finished last year, I believe. I mean, yes, last year, because now we're in 2023. So that is one of the ones that I have to give a shout out to. The next one, I don't know why. This one I think ended on like the 25th or something of January, so it was quite into the year, but apparently it is still classed as a 2021 drama. I'm still going to mention, and that is Our Beloved Summer, starring Choi Woo-sik and Kim Da-mi. I loved Our Beloved Summer. You know, the OST made it into my best of the best OSTs, the Kim Tae-young Christmas Tree OST. So I absolutely love this drama. It was, I think I hadn't really watched Choi Woo-sik or Kim Da-mi in anything else before, I don't think. And this drama, like, showed me what they can do, and I can't wait to watch some more of their stuff. But yeah, I just had to give out a shout out to those 2 because I love those 2 dramas so much, and I felt a little bit sad that I couldn't really talk about them. But yeah, that's it for Korean dramas, for the portion of that drama. So, moving on to Thai dramas. Now, this may sound a little bit, I don't know what the word is, biased or not biased, but basically, Thai dramas, I feel like there is ones that are like calmer and whatnot, but for the most part, the ones that I seem to stumble across, they all kind of remind me of like telenovelas that I grew up watching. Being back, being from Portugal, they still do telenovelas, and I grew up watching them with my family. They tend to be crazy plots, and it is what it is, but I always really enjoyed watching them, and that's what Thai dramas kind of remind me of. And it kind of gives me that feeling of nostalgia because it reminds me of watching them with my family. But anyways, I have a couple that I kind of need to mention because are they the best dramas ever? No, but I still really enjoyed them. So yeah, the first one on my list is Kin Posh, and that's starring Mile and Apu. Now, they have really long names. Thai names are really long, guys. So I am just going to go with the first name so I don't butcher the language too much. That's, hopefully that's okay and nobody's mad at me, but that's why. And the MDL description goes as the second son of a mafia boss, I'm not going to attempt that. Therapanyaku. Oh, God. Guys, I don't speak Thai. That's just an attempt. Basically, is fleeing from an enemy when he meets Porsche, an enterprising young bartender. Porsche agrees to help defend Kin from his attackers for a price. Porsche martial arts skills impress, and spurred on by his father, Kin seeks to hire Porsche as one of his personal bodyguards. Porsche is opposed and rejects Kin's offer despite his attempts at intimidation. It isn't until Porsche's family home and his ability to care for his brother are threatened that he agrees and moves onto the property. It's not a smooth transition into the unorthodox violent job, and his relationship with Kin vacillates between strained and playful. When his feelings for Kin take an unexpected turn, his work becomes even more high stakes. Now, this is a BL, guys, that, this is a BL for those of you who haven't watched it. But I feel like this was really high quality. Like, it was shot so well. And yes, it's very violent and there is scenes of abuse and a bunch of that stuff. So trigger warnings for all of that. But even saying that, their chemistry between all of these characters just kind of work, and it's crazy. It's like a crazy world and a crazy story, but it kind of works, and I don't know why. So I really liked it, and I had to kind of mention it. I ended up scoring it an 8 out of 10, which is probably like one of my highest in terms of Thai dramas. So yeah, that's Kin Porsche. Next up on my list, I have one that's called Oops, Mr. Superstar Hit on Me. These titles, this title is crazy, but it stars Jane Ramida and Pong Nawut, and the MDL description is the 40-year-old Ton Narobet is a top star dubbed the Breath of Asia. He is also Cake's mum's favourite leading man. So when Cake gets a job as an effects makeup artist working on his set, Cake's mum asks her daughter to get her his autograph. But how does Cake go from getting an autograph for her mum to waking up next morning in bed with her mum's idol? Now, can you hear the plot? It sounds crazy, but it's so much fun to watch. Like, this is why I go to Thai dramas. I feel like, yes, there are really, really good and poignant stories in Thai dramas as well, but I feel like this is what I seek out in Thai dramas, is like these crazy plots that are just fun to watch. They're complete escapism, and this is what this drama is. It's completely full of tropes left, right, and center. It is a arranged relationship that grows into feelings and all of that goodness. So I had a lot of fun watching it. And again, I ended up giving it an 8 out of 10. I quite liked the main couple. They worked pretty well for me. So yeah, that's Oops, Mr. Superstar Hit on Me. Again, that title is just, I can't even. And that's it for my Thai dramas. I'm going to run through them pretty quick now, because I don't have that many Thai or Filipino dramas or anything. Actually, next up on my list is a Filipino drama, and it is the only one I watched this year. It was my very first Filipino drama. It was like my introduction into them. But it made me curious enough that I kind of want to watch more this year. So that's on my list to try and do. The one that I did watch is called How to Move On in 30 Days, and it's starring Maris Racal and Carlo Aquino. And the MDL description is unceremoniously, I can't say that word, guys, it's been a long day. And apparently my brain is like, time to shut down. But anyways, dumped by her boyfriend, Jen vows to herself she'll move on within 30 days. She chronicles her journey of heartbreak on her vlog. Next, she hires Franco to be her pretend boyfriend, thinking this will help her healing process. After a month of trying to bury the past, can Jen move on, or will her efforts prove futile? Now, this drama, I think, it was so much fun to watch. I think it's like in maybe 15-20 minute episodes, maybe, or maybe even shorter. Maybe I think it's like 10-15 minutes if I'm remembering correctly. And they're all on YouTube with English subs, which was great. So I really, really enjoyed this one. This one, again, it definitely reminds me a lot of like the telenovelas that I watched growing up. And also, I have never really heard Filipino spoken that much, but there's like a load of English words just thrown in whenever they're speaking, and I kind of like that. It was fun to hear. So yeah, this drama made me really, really curious to go and check out a couple more. So if you have any suggestions, if you watch Filipino dramas, send them my way, because that I really, really want to try and watch some more this year. So yeah, that was the only Filipino drama, but I feel like it deserves a mention. It's really like a great lunchtime watch, or if you just want to get something quick in, or just a little something to distract you, this one's really, really good for that. Short episodes, so I really enjoyed it. Now, I just want to give a shout out to this drama because I already have, but I feel like I need to again. My favorite drama from 2020, well, it isn't from 2022, but I watched it in 2022, so I'm gonna, put it in there. My favorite Japanese drama has to be the drama Mother. Now, I know, again, not from this year, but I just have to give it a shout out, guys. If you can get access to it, watch it. It is like, I absolutely loved it. I cried like a baby for a lot of it, but I just loved it. It's so well done, so well written. I feel like the acting in it is really, really good. So I just couldn't not have it in. But I think that's it. That completes my episode. Like I said, this episode is chaotic, but here we are. This is what chaotic energy. Hey, what's new? My my episodes tend to be a little bit chaotic, but like I said, this is the first one where I've gone into more depth about Korean dramas that I've watched. So I feel like I'm a little bit out of my depth. I feel way more comfortable when I'm talking about Chinese dramas, but here we are. I do intend on like bringing other Asian dramas more into the podcast in general, and I've actually got really exciting news for the podcast, which I'll probably make a little post on next week or in the upcoming weeks. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a good year. Hopefully it'll be a really good drama year for all of us, not just for me, but for everybody. But I have like my little question to leave off this episode and to like shut the door to 2022 in general, so I don't really do New Year's resolutions. I do like maybe things that I'd like to achieve, but not necessarily New Year's resolutions. And I tend to be, so the ones that I've made for this year is that I want to work really hard with the podcast, and in general, I just want to connect more with you guys and grow this little place of mine that I've started. So that is like my little goal for 2023. But my like drama resolution in the sorts is I really, really, really want to try and branch out way more into like Japanese, Thai, Filipino, and Taiwanese dramas, because I feel like that's the places that I watch a lot less from. Chinese dramas, I watch so many of them, it's crazy. And Korean dramas, even if I watched a little bit less this year, I still feel like I watch quite a lot of them. But these other 4 countries, I have watched dramas from them before, but last year I was going through my list and I realized I barely watched anything from Japan at all, and I feel like I'm lacking in those 4 countries. So if you've got any recommendations for Japanese dramas, Thai dramas, Filipino or Taiwanese dramas, send them my way, because this year I really want to like go deeper into all of those countries in terms of their dramas. So that's my little drama resolution of sorts for 2023, I suppose. What are you guys like? Do you guys make New Year's resolutions? And if so, is there one for like your drama watching or something in particular? So let me know. If you're listening through Spotify, you can actually answer the question in like the episode notes, there'll be like a little question and you can answer direct through there. If you're listening anywhere else, come chat to me on Instagram or email or any of the socials. They're all linked in the, in the description. So come chat to me, because I actually love hearing from you guys just as much as I enjoy recording. One of my favorite parts is when you guys reach out and like talk back to me, if that makes sense. So please do that if you so feel like it. I hope everybody has had great holidays. If you're listening to this in the future, it's way past that, but I hope the beginning of 2023 went well for you guys, and I hope that 2023 brings everyone what they wish, and just in general, good dramas for everybody. That's it for this episode. I'll see you next time. This has been another episode of the Tea and Soju Asian Drama Podcast. I'm your host, Liliana, and you can come and chat to me on Instagram at Tea and Soju Pod, all one word, and on Twitter, tea_soju_pod. You can also email me at teaandsojupodcast@gmail.com. Lastly, if you enjoy this podcast, please help by rating and reviewing wherever you listen to help others find this drama corner. I'll leave everything linked in the description notes. See you next time for more Asian drama chatter.